Good evening, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. My name is Kayla, and I am the placement coordinator here with National Training Truck Driving School. Tonight, we are going to have a special guest, Donnie Graves with Windy Hill Foliage, joining us. Before we get to him, we're going to go over a few things. We still got a bunch of people signing on, it looks like, so we're going to go ahead and take care of some of the housekeeping right now. You guys might be joining us on your computer, maybe your laptop, maybe even your smartphone or your tablet. So there's some different controls I kind of want to go over with you guys before we get too deep into this. The first one's going to be that red or orange microphone. Everybody right now is in the listen only mode. I will open up those microphones here in just a little while so that we can let you guys ask lots of questions and have a good discussion. The second one is going to be that green hand icon. If everybody could go ahead and click that green hand icon and leave your hands up, that way I know you guys can hear me. Thanks, Monica, Leonardo, Jaquez, George. Hey, George is one of our current students. Very, very nice. See everybody raising their hands, and then I can put them all down with one little click of a button. The third icon is going to be this question mark icon. If you have any questions and I'm going too fast, you can type it in the questions box. I always keep that open so I do see anything that comes through there. Some of you might also have the option for a camera. We are going to leave the cameras off tonight. It just takes away a lot of the bandwidth for those of our guests here tonight that are in a more rural setting. I know with the storm coming, that kind of affects it even more. So we'll leave the cameras off for tonight. So just a little bit about who we are here at the school. We were incorporated in 1978 as a proprietary post-secondary vocational education institution. We are committed to providing a strong curricula with programs that emphasize practical, usable skills blended with a relevant general education foundation. We have a caring environment with personal attention and close faculty-student interaction, and we do have an open door admission policy. We are Florida's oldest private truck driving school. We have a state-of-the-art training facility, and our 1.25 mile multi-lane highway ensures a safer, more efficient training. We've graduated over 40,000 students since 1978. Actually, I think we just hit 42,000. You might find yourself asking the question, why drive a truck for a living? I like to simply put that as job security. Right now is a great time to do so. So speaking of job security, at this time I would like to ask Mr. Donnie to join us on here and tell us all about his great company, Windy Hill Foliage. Thanks for joining us, Donnie.
Well, thank you so much, Kayla, for that nice introduction. I do appreciate National Training letting me come on and do these webinars. You guys do a fabulous job of preparing people for the industry, and I just appreciate you partnering with us and allowing us to come on here and tell a little bit about Windy Hill.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am. The nice thing is, if after you hear what I have to say and you decide you want to come with Windy Hill, the nice thing is I'm the guy that does the hiring. So all you got to do is call and talk to me on the phone, and I can walk you through the whole process. I don't hand you off to somebody else. We are a smaller family-owned business. We've been in business for about 45 years, so we've stood the test of time. We have about 150 tractors and 300 trailers, and we run the Midwest and the Southeast. So if you decided to come with Windy Hill, we would honor the physical you took to get into school, so you don't have to see a doctor again. I do physically have to get you to my yard in Eustis. We're about 40 miles north of Orlando, about an hour and a half from National Training. What a great facility they have there. The guys and the gals coming out of there are head and shoulders above the competition. They do a fabulous job. So physically got to get you to my yard for about a half-day orientation, do a little bit of paperwork. Most importantly, send you for a drug screen. As soon as that comes back, we can put you to work. We put you out there for 4 weeks of paid training, just building on the education you're going to get at National. 4 weeks of paid training. They pay you $600 a week in training, And during that time, you'll get the hang of everything, dealing with shippers and receivers, our main lanes of travel. First week, you'll probably only do 25% of the driving and 50% of the paperwork. But by the end of the 4 weeks, they really want you doing most of the driving and all the paperwork. We want you comfortable with that equipment before we cut you loose on your own, because that's the name of the game. Get out there, get you up to speed, and get you on your own so you can make some real money. These guys do pretty good working at Windy Hill. What we do is we start you out at 46 cents a mile is the base pay, and we're always offering or giving you or you're earning up to 5 cents in bonuses. So the bonus money's paid quarterly. It's up to $1,500 to $1,800 a quarter. Depends on how well you're managing the equipment and how well you're doing. 3 cents in a fuel bonus, a quarterly performance bonus. Stay out of trouble with the DOT, logbooks look good, that type of stuff. And then an en route bonus. Just drive the directions we tell you. But your miles are paid loaded or empty, 46 cents a mile. And Windy Hill Foliage being our little niche in the market. Florida's not a big industry-based state, so they're not producing a lot, but they do have some nurseries, and we deal with Costa Farms, probably the biggest grower in the United States of foliage, and they have the business sewn up with Walmart, Lowe's, and Home Depot. So we pull a lot of that garden center material out of Florida, which is good for you guys because that means more money. There's a little bit of labor involved. You have to tailgate the product. But every time you're opening the doors, you're making either $25 or $50 a stop. I see guys make $400 or $500 in a couple of days in stop pay alone, and it's not all that strenuous. A little bit of labor, you have to roll them to the back, and they take them off. So every time you're opening the doors, you're making extra money. Above and beyond that, it's just dry goods. We are a dry van outfit. We're pulling 53-foot dry vans, and it could be any type of dry material: beer, rice, dog food, machine parts, paper products, whatever's paying, we're pulling. We're not picky, so we run the Midwest and the Southeast. A lot of repeat customers, so you'll get some familiarity, but you won't get bored with doing a big circle each week. We do keep you out there for 3 weeks at a time, and after 3 weeks of driving, you can take up to a week off. So that's been a pretty popular um, thing that came about this year.
Yeah,
Is
that's
the
a cool
extra,
thing.
yeah, extra time off, and it's been very popular. So, we also have all the same benefits as the big companies do, but we are a smaller family-owned business. But they've got great health insurance and a great benefit package. Health insurance is Blue Cross Blue Shield. They've got 401k. You put in $4, we'll put in two. That type of match. Paid vacation after a year. Tuition reimbursement will pay you back up to $5,000. At $200 a month, they pay it to the student directly, and that's an incentive we offer them to come to us directly out of school. So you come to us directly out of school, we'll help pay for some of that tuition, which is a really, really nice thing. We offer vacation after a year, a rider policy. You can take your wife or your girlfriend. Pet policy, they make you pay a little deposit, but you can take a dog with you. We also will give you a refrigerator, a microwave, an inverter, help trim the truck out. It's kind of like a little apartment when you get it. So we offer International Pro Stars, Freightliner Columbias, and some Volvos. So they've got 2 or 3 different models of tractors that we're running right now. You would be assigned a tractor, so nobody else is going to drive it but you. And we're about 80% automatics at this point. So, we have a variety of tractors, whatever suits your needs. So,
That's good. Yeah, because I
yeah.
mean we're still old school over here. We like that manual transmission, so I'm glad to
Well, and
hear that you guys still
I
have it.
encourage it. I encourage everybody to stick with that manual transmission and
Mhm.
try to come out with no restriction on your license. But it's up to you. If you got your heart set on an automatic, we've got them. So we can go either way with that.
Very good. Yeah, kind of the way I put it to people, I was like, yeah, you might be driving an automatic, but what happens if you break down and the only loaner truck they have for you is a manual?
It's a great point. It's a great point. You never want to limit your options when you're um, out there. And that's the great thing about national training is you're one of the few schools out there that still offer the manual transmission training. So, and your
Exactly.
staff there they have a great support staff there. So if you're not in national training now and you're thinking about going, it's a great choice. They give you a good variety of companies to come in, and not just Windy Hill. We're not for everybody. If you're looking for over the road, we're a great option. But they have some local companies that come in there, and there's just many different things that they offer you that some of these other companies and trucking schools don't. They have a great support staff there, and they offer. I believe they still offer lifetime placement. So
They sure do.
if they if they accept you, then you're hireable and you'll get a job. Look at that brand new Volvo there. That guy's driving.
Yeah,
It's
sorry, I didn't
nice.
realize my screen wasn't showing for some reason.
That's okay. That's okay. The nice thing is everything's online nowadays, so you can apply online
Yep,
and give me a call. I can go in there and click a few buttons if you're interested, and tell you if you're qualified. So
wonderful. So tell us a little bit about, we get a lot of veterans that come through our school. Do you guys have any special perks or opportunities
we
for our veterans?
they do. They work with the we've got a guy that works with the veterans in our home office, but we'll start the veterans out at a penny higher on the pay scale. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but it really is. So they'll
Definitely
start
adds
them
up.
out at 47 cents a mile. So
Very good. Now, one of the questions I get a lot, and I actually got the question two different times today, is this time of year, we're starting to see the cooler temperatures up north, and new drivers are kind of worried about the fact of driving in the snow in a tractor trailer, especially
well,
if they're not used to the snow. They
no,
get really nervous about that. Do
it's a valid concern. I think we pride ourselves. You will see some snow with Windy Hill. We have our home office is in Marchville, Wisconsin,
Mhm.
and you're going to see some snow. Listen, we've got a guy that's all he does is a safety guy. He monitors the weather. He sends emails out every day. And believe me, if the weather is not good, they shut you down. The nice thing is with Windy Hill, if you end up having to sit overnight or whatever, I think it's any over 24 hours you get sitting. They'll give you a little bit of downtime pay. I know nobody's going to get rich getting that, and we don't want that, but we certainly want you to be safe. And they try to do their best to compensate you for your time. So, they
Very
do
good.
have some breakdown pay and some layover pay and any type of billable hours dealing with shippers and receivers. If you get stuck at a shipper or receiver, there's some money involved there too. So there's always some perks, and they try to keep you going and keep you moving. They've got a great support team. Some of these dispatchers that we're dealing with have been doing this for 30 years, and they're just really, really good. So I think that's one thing we pride ourselves on. And you bring up a good point, especially people new to the industry are very nervous when they're going out there on their own for the first time. There's a big learning process in this, and it can be overwhelming. And I think we have the support staff in place to ease some of those concerns. We don't chain tires or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about that. You can see the map down there. We've got a terminal, the two dark states, one's Wisconsin and one's Florida. So we've got terminals in both. We only run the Midwest and the Southeast. So it doesn't mean a lot now, but when you get out there and start working, it will. There's a lot of freight in those lanes of travel. No New England and no New York. Those areas are problematic up there. You're not stuck way out west watching a tumbleweed roll by waiting on a load. There's plenty of freight where we're running. So it keeps you, they keep you busy. These guys, your first year with us, you should make 55 to 65,000, no problem. They do pretty good.
That's awesome. So that was one of the things I was going to bring up, is one of the things I love most about you guys is this no New York City routes, because I know a lot of drivers get nervous about that too. So that's always kind
They
of a
do.
relief for a lot of people.
They do. They do.
All right. So at this time, if Donnie, if there's nothing you want to touch base on, I was going to open up the phone lines to some questions, see if anybody has
Sure.
any questions.
Any questions? I'll be more than happy to try and answer.
All right, guys. So at this time, if you guys have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. I'd be happy to click on you so you can ask your question, or you can type it into that question box, and that way we can get Donnie to help answer some of these questions for you guys. Any questions at all? All right, Quentin Hicks.
Can you hear me okay?
Quentin, you should be good to go. Go ahead and ask your question.
All right. For the rider policy, how long would a driver have to be on the road solo before they can bring a rider with them?
Great question. Great
That is a great
question. It really is. See, you're very prepared. 6 months of solo driving before they'll let you take a passenger or a pet. And I believe most companies are about the same. They kind of want you to have that equipment under control before they, add any distractions in that cab with you. So
very good question, Quentin. Quentin, alumni of our school. That sounds familiar.
now that being said, if you've been out there driving for a while and you come to us, and you've got some experience, some of that's negotiable. If you've got a little bit of experience driving, I think that experience kind of transfers over, as it does with pay. The pay scale is based on how long you've been driving over the road with us. So if you've got a year, the pay is going to be a little better, and you'll be eligible for that rider policy and stuff right off the bat.
Very good. Quentin, did you have another question? You can click on your microphone.
Yes, I did. Sorry. In regards to the pay with the range from 55 to 65, I don't know if you're allowed to. Can you give an accurate of what the pay pretty much is before and or after taxes, or is that too sensitive?
Well, the base pay is 46 cents a mile, and I think 46 cents a mile at 2,500 miles a week is around $1,100. So that's before taxes. But then you add some bonus money in there. The bonus money is paid quarterly, so that's an extra check you'll get 4 times a year, and that's how that works. If that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. And now, if you came to me and you had 7 out of the last 7 years of experience, I'd start you out at 55 cents a mile. See, if I was a better salesman, I would say you can earn up to, and I think that's what the pamphlet says. But I try to stick with the base pay and break it down a little bit for you because I want to be as honest and upfront about it as I can. So the base pay is 46 cents a mile. Those miles are paid loaded or empty. Some companies, the rate changes. So that's another question for you to think about when you're talking to these companies. But with us, it's the same, loaded or empty, and they're paid every week. If you get the miles to them, everything's done digitally now, so you do it on your phone. If you get the miles to them by Monday at 4 o'clock, you're paid on Friday. So it's all direct deposit. It's a pretty simple process. But I think our pamphlet says new drivers can earn up to 51 cents a mile. So that's 46 plus 5. I just tell you 46.
Yeah, get them with the base pay because then that extra stuff is always an added perk there.
Yeah.
So Sierra, she's one of our students now, asked if you guys have anything local.
We don't have anything local. No, we don't. We're strictly over the road.
Okay, good question. Jaquez Harris, looks like you have your hand up. I did send over an audio pin since it looks like you're calling in on a phone here with us. You can enter that in and ask your. Give them a minute to just get that taken care of. There should have been a pin sent over to you, Jaquez. Or you can type your question in the question box as well. Let's see here. Dennis said he is 21. Do you guys have a minimum age for your drivers?
23 is our minimum age, and I know we're fighting hard, especially us on the recruiting side are fighting hard to get that changed. I know there's some things floating around through Congress and some programs out there, some satellite
Hmm.
programs, but it hasn't trickled down to us yet. So it's 23.
Gotcha. And the way I kind of explain that to a lot of people is a lot of that has to do with insurance.
Oh, it's all about insurance. If,
Yep,
if
those
you guys
insurance
have a
companies.
question about your driving record, I would encourage you to put an application online and then call me. I can go in there and click a few buttons as long as I have the application and the authorization to run your driving record and take a quick look at it and tell you, if there's any issues or not.
Very good. I got another question in the question box. Do you guys have team driving?
We have a father and son and a husband and wife, but we're not really set up for teams. So if there's some companies out there, and I think you might have one that comes into national training
Hmm.
that would be more suited for teams. If you've got a partner and you're ready for teams, certainly it's something we can entertain. And if you like our business model and the way we do things, but you would probably make a little bit more at a company that is suited for that, or and that's their business model. With us, you're going to make a little bit less, but they still do pretty good, but it would be a little bit less than a company that has that as their sole means.
Very good. Okay, Jacques did put in his question in the chat box here. Could you clarify the tuition reimbursement program and the type of health benefits that you offer?
Yes, the health benefits, there's 2 or 3 different programs. It's Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So there's difference in the deductibles and difference in the copays. I can always PDF that stuff to you if I don't have, and that's about all I have now. I think for a single person, it's around $50 a week, $60 a week, something like that. And the more people you add, and it goes up. Now, tuition reimbursement is after 6 months, excuse me, after 30 days of solo driving, they start paying you directly at $200 a month. So they'll cut you a check at $200 a month, and it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah,
I,
that
I mean,
goes,
I hope I answered that. I mean,
yeah,
the types of insurance, it's Blue Cross and Blue Shield. It's really good. And there's 2 or 3 different plans and different deductibles and different copays. So there's a variety you can pick from, but it is Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
okay, good question. So George asked, does your second year pay go up?
Yes. What happens, we start you out at 46 cents a mile. After a year, they give you a 3-cent raise. And then every year after that, they evaluate it. And what happens in trucking? I've been doing this. I've been with Windy Hill for 12 years. And what happens in trucking is every couple of years, the industry adjusts itself, and every company is vying for drivers. That's why it's such a great industry to be in, because everybody needs drivers. So the demand is high. That means your pay is high. So they're always bumping pay. I started recruiting, I think 6 or 7 years ago, and I think it was 28 cents a mile when I started, and it's 46 cents a mile now. So it constantly goes up. There's no cap at Windy Hill, so you're constantly going to get raises every year, get reevaluated every year, and it's usually 2 or 3 cents a year.
Very nice. Good questions, guys. George also said, do you know how much coverage on get for a family?
No, I don't have that at my fingertips. I don't know how much it costs at my fingertips.
Okay.
But
No,
I can get you that information. You call me, I can kind of PDF that stuff for you.
yeah, absolutely. George, just see me tomorrow in the office and I'll be happy to give you his information as well. Or you can just actually I'll even put the contact up here for you guys, because if you all call, it's going to be Mr. Donnie that you talk to.
There you go. That's it. Call that number.
This Florida number right here, 800-864-3404.
Yeah.
So Mr. Donnie is the one you will reach for sure. Good questions, guys. I like seeing lots of good questions. Anybody else? Quentin, I see. Did you have another question?
Yes. Where is the training located, and is will hotel stay be provided, or will we have to find that for ourselves?
Good questions.
Very good question. What we do is we only really hire within an hour or 2 hours from our yard. And the reason being is the truck, when you're on home time, stays at our terminal. I know this is going to be a long answer for a short question, but so physically you need to live within a couple hours. Jacksonville. Where do you live? Jacksonville?
No, currently I am in Palaco, which is just 25 minutes from the school, and I believe it's an hour and a half from Eustis,
Yeah,
where
no, Palac is well within our hiring range. So
okay.
you would be fine. You would physically have to drive to my yard for about a half a day. Got to get you down there, fill out a little bit of paperwork,
Mhm.
make some copies of stuff, and send you for a drug screen. And then you go home. And I give you a list to get packed up and ready to go. And then give me a couple days, a week, and I call you and say, come in, let's go to work. And then you get in the truck with somebody physically and you leave. You're gone for 4 weeks. So the training is over the road. You're going to live in the truck. It's kind of like light camping. You bring your toiletry items and enough clothes for a week, and you're gone for a solid month. And then once training's done, you go home for 4 or 5 days, get rested up, packed up, and then we put you in your own truck. And at that point, they start paying you cents per mile, and they'll get you home every 3 weeks at that point. Did I
Okay.
explain that well?
Thoroughly, yeah. You just answered my
Yeah.
follow-up question, just the how is the days out and the days at home. So,
Yeah, as it stands right now,
thank you.
you work 3 weeks out, 21 days out, and you can take up to 7 days off. Now, they're ever changing stuff, so who knows what's going to be next week, but that's what it's been this year. They're always trying to make happy drivers are productive drivers, and we want you to have as much home time as that you're comfortable with, but we still have a business to run. Now, some people like to stay out for 5 or 6 weeks at a time, and that's fine too. So for every year, it's always been, since I've started doing this, for every week you work, you get a day off. And it's been a typical model in trucking. So who knows? Now we've started giving you a week off when you go home, but it just depends. Who knows? If you want to stay out longer, you can. Um, that's certainly okay. But if you need to get home every 3 weeks, they're good. Listen, we're over the road, so it could be a day earlier or a day later. But they are good about getting you home on time. And I know you guys have heard the horror stories and you see them online where, I was supposed to be home 3 weeks ago and they're sending me to Montana. That's not going to happen at Windy Hill. Like I said, it could be a day earlier or a day later, but they're good about getting you home on time.
Great questions. Did get
And
another question in the, oh, go ahead, Quentin. Sorry, I saw your microphone come back up. Go ahead.
and for the home time, I'm glad you had mentioned that drivers have the option to stay out longer. Is there a maximum cap that you would allow drivers to be out on the road?
No, no, not really. I got some guys that only come home every, 3 or 4 months. So it's kind of up to you at that point. You'll get the hang of things and figure out what some guys live in the truck, they dump their apartment, they move into the truck and, away they go. So it just really depends on what you're looking for. If you need to get home every 3 weeks, they're good about that. If you want to stay out, that's fine. What you're going to run into in Florida is not a big producer of anything. The only thing Florida's producing is retirees. It's not an
Mhm.
industry-based state. There's only so much Zephyr Hills water and Plant City strawberries that the rest of the country needs. Now you got a little bit of paper coming out of Palaca, but for the most part, Florida doesn't produce anything. But there's a lot of people that live here, so there's tons of trucking companies coming to Florida with goods on them to service the needs of the people, but not a lot leaving. So what we've developed is the plants. We get out there. There's a little bit of labor involved. They pay you extra. Some guys really, really like it. They can do really well with those plants, make good money with them, and then above and beyond that, they're getting a little break. They're running dry goods around the country. And then when it's time to come home, it's very easy to get freight to come to Florida. So if you have something come up, you're never more than a day or two from home because we're only in the Midwest and the Southeast.
Awesome. And with the days, since we're able to save up those days, is there a time limit that we have to take those days off, or do they roll over like into the
No, you
next?
can't roll them over and bank them up, and they don't like you to take more than 30 days. If you take more than 30 days off, you have to re-drug screen. They don't like you taking more than 10 or 12 days off, you
Okay,
know. But believe me, if you've been out there for 3 months, after 10 days, you're ready to go back to work.
gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Great
if you've got
question.
something coming up, I hire guys and they'll say, "Oh, in 2 months, my friend's getting married. I don't want to start my job till then." Listen, if you got something coming up, communication is the key in trucking. Communicate that to your dispatcher. That's something, if you got a family reunion or something coming up, we can work with you. As long as we know ahead of time what we're dealing with. It happens all the time, and it's not a problem.
And do the days that we save up expire at any time?
Oh, no, no, no.
Okay. And sorry if I'm bombarding you with questions.
That's
Uh,
what these are for.
Yeah.
You're quite all right.
and so if you take on a driver and let's say they've been out for 2 months, so that's 8 weeks, so that's 8 days, and they'll be able to take off 4 days, and then if they're out for let's say um, 2 weeks, would they be able to take four days off immediately after 2 weeks, or is
No,
there
they
a
don't
minimum
roll them
amount of
over.
working weeks?
No, not really. They don't roll them over like that. No, no, it gets
Okay,
it gets too complicated. They don't do that. But if you need some time off or you got something coming up, just let them know. Just let them know. You're going
okay,
minimum time out is 3 weeks. You got to stay out 3 weeks, and then after that, if you want to come
gotcha.
home, you
Okay,
can. But they're pretty good. We don't want to overcomplicate it.
okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no
Good
problem, no
question.
problem. Thank you. Great
So
questions. It's
we did
kind
get
of
one other
tricky.
question. We
Sure.
did get one other question in the chat box here. This person is asking if they have if do you work with anybody who has any kind of criminal background?
We do. We take that on a case by case basis, and you can call me tomorrow and talk to me about it, and we can work. A lot of times I can work through that stuff. Um, Typically, they say no felonies in the last 10 years and no misdemeanors in the last 5, but I've got a lot of wiggle room when it comes to that stuff. So let's call me and talk to me about it, and I can work through a lot of that stuff. They take everything into account: driving record, work history, criminal background. So I like to think of us as a second chance company. Everybody's got in trouble at one point or another, so no problem. We can,
Very good.
yeah.
Like that about you guys. Well, Donnie, if there's nothing else you can think of, I think you're good for the evening. I really appreciate you joining us tonight.
Oh, I thank you for everybody who participated in all the questions, and feel free to call me. Listen, I talk on the phone all day. I love talking, as you can tell. And you give me a call if you got any questions, and I'll do my best to answer them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Donnie, and you stay safe in this storm coming in. So I
Yes,
know
I had
ma'am.
an
you're
You too.
additional question.
pretty good ways inland. So,
I,
but you
I
still
had an
stay safe.
additional question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Um, when it comes to, uh, dang, I just forgot it. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. How soon would you prefer for drivers to reach out and fill out any pre-employment or employment applications? Would you prefer us to have already finished truck driving school, or right where in the midst of truck driver school? How do you prefer?
Oh, that's a great question. You can go ahead and fill out the application, but I am going to ask you to call me. Fill it out, and what it does is there's some little boxes that'll drop down. You sign them. You call me. I can go in there and click a few buttons in it. I can talk to you about your driving record, any questions you have to ask on a personal level. We can deal with that stuff, and I can tell you yes or no. And if I say yes, then what we'll do is we'll wait till you get out of school, till you get your license in hand, and then you physically come down and see me. So I can pre-hire you, yes, if that's kind of what you're asking. I don't have a problem doing that. I would actually prefer to do that. I don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste mine. And if you like what we have to offer, we'll get you in here and get you rolling. And it sometimes it doesn't take very long. It usually takes me. I've never had anybody wait more than 10 days to get working, unless they wanted to. But typically, it's anywhere from a couple days to a week, and you're out on the road working, making money. I mean, I try to make it a simple process.
Awesome. And for the tuition, when it comes to the tuition reimbursement, is there any contractual work obligations that's tied to that? They do have to work
No,
in.
but they're only going to pay you that as long as you work for us.
Okay.
If you work and then you leave, they're not going to keep paying it.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
That makes sense. So yeah, it just bring me the bill that where you paid it, and then Kayla's got all that stuff. So they give it to you when you leave. So it's no problem. You bring me the paperwork they gave you, and we'll pull out what we need, make copies of it, and get you rolling.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Donnie. Like I said, you stay safe in that storm out there, and we will talk with you very soon.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, so we're just going to go through a few more things real quick before we jump off of here tonight. For those of you that are looking to come to our facility here, we do have thousands of drivers that have had their very first truck driving experience in our trucks. A lot of people have never even been inside of a tractor trailer when they get to our school. So we have cab over engines with sleepers, conventional condos, sleepers, and day cabs. This might be what the inside of a truck looks like, just to kind of give you an idea. You got lots of storage to have all of your belongings, because as Donnie said, you do essentially live in that truck. You got your driver's seat, your co-pilot seat, a bunk or a bed. Some of them fold up into a table like this, whereas other ones might have a table that's something similar like this. Most companies do give you a refrigerator, microwave, TV. Some of them even provide like a satellite dish or things of that nature. There's tons of driving jobs out there with hauling freights of all different kinds. You can remain primarily in a specified area of the country if you'd like. A lot of local stuff. A lot of them offer weekly home time, great pay, steady runs, and company benefits. Industry average salary. This is based off of 2019 to 2020. So honestly, guys, this is, but I have to kind of go with what the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics is still publishing. They're saying $46,250 for your annual first year driver. As Donnie said, 55 to 65. That's probably a much better starting point for sure. For our school qualifications, we do review your driving record, your criminal background, your physical abilities. Everybody has to take a drug screening on the first day of class, and we want to know your intensity to succeed. We ensure that you can benefit from our training before you start, because we want to make sure that you're employable. We have a 4-week residence hands-on training, lots of one-on-one time with instructors or small group instruction with the instructors. We do have this awesome 1.25 mile track on our 350-acre campus here. So you get a lot of time on this track learning how to shift, learning how to operate that large truck and trailer before you ever have to deal with anybody else on the road. We do also have a simulator here. A lot of times we use the simulator for some outside practice for people maybe wanting to come take a test and they just need a little bit of practice. Or if somebody's having a particularly difficult time here in the class, we'll send them back to Miss Mary Beth. She'll put you up on the simulator and get any issues that you have ironed out. Career services, we do have a placement process here. I am the placement coordinator here. We've been perfecting our graduate to work program for over 43 years, and it really does work. We start working with the students on the very first day of class. As some of my students that I'm seeing in here can vouch, I do a presentation the very first day, right out of the gates, talking about what you guys can expect for job placement processes. We use a lot of one-on-one private counseling sessions. Everybody knows my door is always open. Come and talk to me if you have any concerns or if you have any questions. We do have a lot of companies that come in and talk to our students, like Donnie with Windy Hill. He comes to every class. I think I can think of 2 classes in the last 3 years that I've been here that he's missed, and he always had a good reason. So lots of great reputation great companies, great communication with all these companies as well. We also have a job board that we list on our website, truckschool.com/jobs, where we update weekly different trucking jobs throughout the country, not even just to this Florida region. Our out-of-town students might ask where they're going to stay when they're here for training. You can really stay anywhere you want, but if you're looking for the best deal, we use the Green Cove Springs Inn, located about 7 miles from our training facility. It's a small extended stay hotel, close by. It's safe. Everybody has a great commute to school every morning. Pretty simple commute, and there's always other students that are staying there as well. Our cost, fees, and financing. The tuition for our school is $7,495. We do offer multiple types of financing, like outside financing with banks and credit unions. We work with workforce, vocational rehab, veterans, the TAA, income share agreement. Been doing a lot of work with Mia Share particularly. In-house financing, and like Donnie was mentioning, that tuition reimbursement. Most of the companies that come through here are going to tell you they offer tuition reimbursement, where they pay you a monthly stipend to help pay for your schooling. We've been doing this for a very long time. It's all good. We have it all. We have the companies and the jobs. We have the industry recognition. We have impeccable governmental relations. We have guaranteed tuition financing for everyone. And we have over 40,000 graduates that came before you. Like I said, we just hit 42,000 graduates. So I love seeing those numbers climb. We have a great program that is really fun to complete. And we have an awesome training facility. Appreciate our students from the Department of Veterans Affairs, vocational rehab programs, state vocational rehab programs, state workforce programs, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. National training is where the trucking companies come for new drivers. In addition to Donnie with Windy Hill, we have relationships with over 160 different companies. So there's always someone out there that'll be a good fit for you. Does anybody have any questions in regards to the school? You can raise your hand if you do, or you can type it into the question box. I'll be happy to answer them for you. All right, we'll give you guys a chance to do that. A couple of special announcements. Our next truck driving webinar is going to be Tuesday, October 11th. That's 2 weeks from today at 6:30 p.m. And our special guest that evening will be John Hine with TMC. We also have an open house event. Our next one is going to be on November 19th. It's on a Saturday. It takes place from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Oh, I do see a question in here. If you don't have any money to come to school, definitely encourage you to go on our website, truckschool.com. At the top of the page, there's a button that says, "Do I qualify?" Make sure you fill that form out if you haven't done so, or if you haven't talked to anybody already, and it'll get you in touch with one of our admissions advisors. If you have talked to somebody before, feel free to reach out to the school, 904-272-4000. And I can get you in touch with your admissions advisor, and they can help you out and see if there might be any programs to help you pay for school. Good question. I would like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. If you guys have any questions, make sure you contact your representative or our admissions office first thing tomorrow. The 800 number is 1-800-488-7364. Again, you can go on our website, truckschool.com. Fill out that "Do I qualify" form or request more info, and we can definitely answer your questions. Your lost time is costing you big money. It's all good. You just got to make sure that you call. Thank you guys so much for attending. If you are in the path of this storm, please, please, please stay safe. Heed all the warnings. Make sure you take the necessary precautions. We want everybody to stay safe out there. But in order to exit the webinar tonight, you do go up to File, Exit, Leave Webinar. Thank you guys so much for joining. Good evening.